Another beautiful morning in a forest. Today it's cloudy, sort of grey. I'm in the constant company like every morning with all the bugs and mosquitoes that are absolutely thrilled to see me always, so maybe you will pick them up on the screen. And since it's a bit more darker today, more cloudy, why not to talk about the mystical darkness, the mysteries of the dark, and the misunderstanding of the darkness overall. So I think we have to thank the Zoroastrians for this dualism between light and darkness and all this fight where you say, oh, the light, that's all the good, and in the darkness is all the bad. Yeah, I think it's getting a bit more complicated than that. This might be more of a religious view where you need to associate qualities with one or the other to make it better understandable. And it is these associations that I would say genuinely, especially in the Western civilization, if someone says darkness, people get like a little bit of chills. They have this feeling of something lurking somewhere around, or a cold, or danger, up to the point where, you know, they get the feeling of being like meaningless in a sense, in the darkness. Yeah, well, let's talk about it, because what is frightened of the dark really? What is it that is scared of it, and why are we, even as adults, sometimes, you have these associations and something happens, like a childish form of latent fear. So why mystical darkness? What is it about? And there are a couple of things that are closely related to the darkness. The path of the mysteries was through the darkness, and the metaphorical journey of the sun of ancient Egypt, right? The night he goes all through those places, those dark places, to be reborn again. And later on, especially in the Christian alchemist texts, there is the whole like dark night of the soul, and we always associate some suffering with darkness. And we have to imagine where, for example, this European alchemist texts have been created. Every year was a struggle. If the weather wasn't good, especially during the periods of this short ice ages, that was a tremendous suffering of the people. You didn't know if you survived the winter. And where do you think the origins of Hansel and Gretel are? Right? If you read the Grimm original, which is, I think, still already sort of censored even for that time, it starts with the mother saying to the father, we have nothing to eat barely, and we have those two kids here, and they, want our food, to take them into the woods. Right? Don't forget that during the ice ages of Europe, the leaves turned black of freeze, and people were really starving. We have records of cannibalism, so the suffering was very, very intense, and grain was weighted by gold, and so on. So around the era when the alchemists wrote their texts, right? And alchemy generally, you can divide it into those two forms, in a sense. This what they call outer alchemy, which focuses on the physical transmutation of non-precious metals into gold, predominantly lead, which I believe really the origins are in the precious metal forgeries of the ancient times, especially during the Bronze era. And then there are the others that say, no, this is full metaphorical, never about the physical. This is the transmutation of the human into the best possible being a human can be, from a mystical sense, like transcending humanity into something, in the Christian or alchemic tradition, into something godly, something angelic, for example. So darkness associated with this painful, sorrowful way to the top or to the bottom, depends where you will see the light, right? So the path is in the darkness, but at the end brings the light. And if you then go further in time into the Jungian analysis, I think Jung always said like, where is the darkness, there is your work. So yeah, I mean, that's a statement, right? I mean, and for those who feel exactly this, right? So darkness or something lurking, okay, that should be something I should definitely investigate. I should definitely go in there. So what is it about the mysteries and mystical darkness in itself? So first of all, let's get out of the associations created through our childhood and through the Western civilization values where darkness is something evil. In nature there is no good and evil. There is only the process of being. A lion is not evil for hunting, and a cat is not evil for eating. It just happens, and the value of good and evil are just human projections of human constructs. So let's move away from this human association into the darkness. What becomes really interesting if you deeply think about it, and you have many traditions where people searching enlightenment go meditate, especially in the dark. In Tibetan Buddhism, where the monks will bury themselves in those caves, and then they will completely close the entrance for maybe even years, right? There will be just a small opening to give them food and water, very limited, and they sit and meditate in this absolute darkness. I mean, if you can handle it and don't go crazy, it's really amazing. Yeah, but they don't talk about how many actually don't make it, right? So, yeah, in this sense, darkness can be a little bit dangerous because, the boundaries of the perception of self can get lost. And that can be really scary, right? Especially if you're very fixated on your own image and you see yourself as something fixated and given, and your image is what you think you are. Then yeah, I mean, darkness can be pretty scary and pretty dangerous because you very fast lose yourself in the darkness. But what does it mean? So to me, darkness predominantly, especially if you go into the darkness, you lose everything and you are staring deep into it. What you see is nothing evil of some making of a universe or making of a demon. What you are really staring into is yourself. Because the darkness is a canvas where all your fears or your anxieties manifest in a visual form even. So if you really go into the darkness, the greatest danger and the biggest obstacle that you see, I don't want to say enemy because there's no enemy, is yourself. Yeah. For maybe it was so scary for everyone. And there is this beautiful moment if you read or watched the Never-Ending Story, right? It's a huge movie I think in the 80s, and the book was quite popular at the time as well. So I think the main protagonist, I don't know what his name is anymore, Atre maybe, he's going to stop this nothingness that is spreading across. It's basically a very beautiful story, and there are these obstacles that he needs to pass. There are some eyes of the Sphinx that shoots lasers, right? And then he comes to the next test, and it is the most scary one. What it really is a mirror into your soul. And that's darkness. Darkness is just the mirror into your soul. If you are alone in the dark, it is you and yourself that's coming for you. Yeah, there is nothing so magical to search about it. It is, and therefore, like Jung said, there is your work, because I mean, going there, and it's again this overcoming of one's boundaries, obstacles, fears, and again, this is something that no one can do for you. Right? No one can take away your fears unless you go and face them. And even if you face them, that doesn't mean that they magically disappear forever. Right? You just learn to face them for the next time. And in the end, this what I started with, that you feel meaningless in the darkness, that's a blessing. Because the meaninglessness means that you lose the boundaries of your ego. You can perceive yourself outside of the image of yourself. That's what I mean with meaningless. Because on the great schemes of things, how meaningful are you to the universe, right? That's the question, right? The Earth exists for a couple of billions of years. You have 500 million year life developed, and well, let's say that the humanoids sort of skilled will be 100,000 years, and then the Homo sapiens that actually we perceive through the arrogance of the humans being the pinnacle of creation. It's 10,000 years, a bit more, yeah, maybe some 10,000s of years, yeah, from the greater scheme of the billions of years of existence of the universe. How much does the universe care of us, man? So there is nothing bad to actually face this feeling of meaninglessness. Don't go crazy about it, right? I mean, don't lose your sleep about it. But going in and facing it, I would say that's a refreshing experience, and it really allows you to perceive yourself outside of the boundaries of your image, of what some say ego. And what the mystics, mysteries, alchemists basically write is that, you know, at the end of the darkness, in the deepest points, you come to the source of light. There's this mystical dark night of the soul, because for those searchers of the celestial, of the absolute, of the divine, when they walk the path, and now, you know, there comes a moment where they feel they are on the right path, right? They feel, okay, I'm getting it, it's really working, and now suddenly everything breaks down. It becomes extremely tiresome. You get extremely exhausted. Nothing works. You get the feeling that the whole world works against you, and you don't see the light at the end of a tunnel. And it's depressing. So this is the dark night of the soul, you know, where everything seems absolutely meaningless. Your own existing meaningless, and what the mystics of this path basically go forward, right? In the Christian inspired alchemy, there is even this like horrific metaphor that this quintessence that's the concept of like the primordial in human, that you need to press out of the human to transmute it into something higher, because in alchemy the transmutation happens through first setting everything back into this primordial quintessential state, and then you can reshape it into whatever, right? Mostly something better, which is associated with gold, more precious, more valuable. So to press this quintessence of humans, they have the metaphor of Jesus, who is like pressed and suffers like the wine grapes during the harvesting season. If you make wine, right, you push them and you screw down the machine that extracts the wine. So this is how they perceived through this tremendous suffering the path, and this suffering they associated with darkness, because for them darkness was this place, this feeling where everything works against you, you feel meaningless, and then, you know, if you overcome it, that's the path basically for them, like path to suffering, which is not the only way. And I think it's a misunderstanding of the darkness itself, because darkness, like I said, is predominantly nothing evil. It's just a canvas where we manifest ourselves, and this canvas becomes our working ground, our place, our laboratory where we can be in and start reflecting and observing, and who knows, maybe even walking through. Hope you enjoyed this video. I will continue my walk. Bye bye.